Shannon.
Hey, Shannon, how are you doing? All right. How's everybody doing this morning? So y'all are in for a special treat today. So Wendy Papasan came all the way up. You drove from this morning. What time did you leave?
I left at 6 o'clock this morning.
Okay, 6 o'clock. You can see us. So straight here.
All the way from Austin.
Wendy and I've been friends now for a while. What attracts me to Wendy is that she always comes from contribution. And
Just like Jeremy.
yes, thank you. I accept that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing seeing how people that have success, success leaves clues, right? Gary Keller says that. And, when you look at people that succeed, there's a common pattern of they always come from contribution. So thank you, Wendy, for coming here.
Of course.
I'll let you give all your stats and figures and who you are.
Right on myself.
And go from there. So enjoy, and I'm going to walk around, pick up some cards.
So Jay signed a book for somebody here. I know probably a lot of you have this book, but just in case you don't or you want to give it out as a Christmas present, we'll do a little drawing this afternoon.
We'll do a drawing after the class today at 1. All right? So Wendy, it's all yours.
Okay, great. And just to be clear, we have 2 hours, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Michael's coming to our mom's mastermind. How nice. So my name is Wendy Papasan. What's that?
That's because I deal with moms.
Of course. We're the bread and butter of real estate. So my name is Wendy Papasan. I'm an agent with Keller Williams in Austin. I have a team of 8 people. I've just rounded out my 5th year in real estate. And this year, we're going to close the year with about 141 transactions, which is about $35 million worth of residential real estate at an average price point of about $250. So we had an awesome year. And I'm just here to talk about how you guys can do exactly what I did, because, it's not brain surgery. Real estate is not brain surgery, but you do need a lot of help to succeed. And when people ask me what's the secret to my success, and it's really that I got a lot of help along the way, and I got a lot of help early. So just as a show of hands, I'm just curious, are there any guests here, non-Keller Williams people? Oh, okay, awesome. Well, I'll try to limit the Keller Williams jargon to a minimum. And if you have any questions about some of the stuff I say, you just raise your hand and ask me. And then I hope this is going to be a really informal session, because you all seem like great ladies. And so who here is in their first year in real estate? So raise your hand really high. Okay, so about 60% of you. And I guess between 2 and 5 years. Okay, anybody over 5 years in real estate? A couple people. Okay, great. So we have a nice mix. It's just like I said, this is really going to be a mastermind. Does anybody know what the definition of a mastermind is? Can you tell me? You've been in real estate more than 5 years. You must know what a mastermind is. Tell me your name.
Barrett.
Barrett? Okay. Yeah. Can you tell us what a mastermind is? You know? No? Okay. Well, I'll tell you. Here we go.
A loose definition would be those getting together with a like purpose or goal and sharing ideas, what's worked for them.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a mastermind. So the whole idea is that one brain is bigger. I mean, how many people in here? 25 brains are bigger than any one brain. And so we're just going to be masterminding topics for you guys, in your business, in your home life, whatever your pinch points are. I want to talk about those today. So I'm just really going to start off the discussion with, I want you guys just to throw out some ideas for me. So we're going to make a list of everything that's kind of your pinch points in your business. And then we'll try to narrow those down to maybe like 5 or 6 topics that we can cover today. Does that make sense? Okay. So so tell me what's going on in your business in Houston. Everything's super easy. You're all moms. It's the holidays, right? Yeah. Tell me your name again.
My name is Erica.
Erica. Okay.
And I'm in the Woodland office, if I look unfamiliar.
Oh, wonderful.
But I guess my question, and I read your blurb, that I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I feel like you can do it all. And I guess one thing I struggle with is doing a lot of things okay, and not doing anything as well as I'd like to do it.
Okay. Well, one thing we are going to talk about leverage here. And then really what you're talking about is focus, right? Because the fact of the matter is you can't do everything well. I don't think there's anybody out there who can do everything well. You have to get some leverage so that you can focus on what you do well. And the great thing about real estate is that you can kind of pick and choose what to do well in your business. I mean, if you're a master of the internet, you can focus on the internet. If you're a master of calling people on the phone, you can focus on that. So yeah, it's a great thing. What else do you want to talk about today?
Scheduling.
Scheduling. Okay.
Every day. With kids in the afternoon.
Oh yeah. Amen, sister. What else? Hi.
I would say
Tell me your name first of all.
I'm Bobby.
Bobby. Okay, if you just tell me your name.
And I'm Nikki.
Nikki. Hi.
I would say prioritizing. I know that kind of fits in line with scheduling, but
Sure.
just
Yep. Okay. What else is hard for you?
I have elderly parents,
Okay.
and a lot of things that happened in the last 2 years that kind of absorbs a lot of my time. So my thing is, I need to figure out how to still be able to work and do my job.
Okay.
And
Take care of your
take care.
parents.
'Cause, like,
Okay.
I have my mom staying with me for 2 months, and it's been kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
It's been really hard to,
Yeah, it's
you
hard.
know, okay, mom, I'm working now.
Yeah, it's so hard because we all have lives, right? I mean, I have this guy in my office, Tim Heil, who's awesome. I'm sure you guys know him. You know, he started in the business when I did when he was 21, and I would come in every day, and I still have like goldfish crackers with me, and he'd be there on the phone for like 2 hours already. You're like, you have nothing to do in your life.
he just now has a first little one though. So.
I know, right? I'm like, I finally have a chance
I know.
to catch up. Yeah. Actually, it was really funny before he got married. I was like, I need to like hook up Tim with somebody so he can get married and have children. And so it totally worked.
You still won't be the mom though.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He still has a wife.
Yep.
We all need wives, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so your problem is, I guess, aging parents. All that kind of thing. What else are you guys having problems with? Your home, your work?
I think it's kind of, I'm Candace.
Hi.
Kind of in line with everything, but just kind of feeling, I have issues with feeling guilty.
Guilty. Guilt.
Yeah.
Who's got guilt? Yeah. That's a big
Time
one.
with your kids.
Oh, yeah. That's
I
huge.
don't feel guilty.
It's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
Prerequisite
Yeah.
for children.
Of course, of course.
She's guilty.
What else do you guys
You're
have
not wrong.
problems with?
I'm Stephanie. I feel like at just an example, like I will spend time with my daughter at night, but then from like 10 to midnight I'm working.
Okay,
So I think that I
so this was probably
don't
what you're
take care of
talking about.
myself
Okay.
because I'm
Oh
trying
yeah,
to fit my
self-care.
daughter.
Who has
Yeah.
problems with self-care? That's huge. Okay, great. Okay. What else do you have problems with? Nobody said dinner. Last mastermind I did, we talked about dinner for like an hour. Does anybody have problems with
That's a
saying dinner on the
lot.
table?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
What to cook.
That's a luxury.
Dinner's a luxury. So he said, yeah, eating's a luxury in my family. What else do y'all having trouble with?
Kelly, I need a laundry fairy.
Laundry fairy. Yeah. Laundry. Let's talk about housework.
Her name must be that.
There are laundry fairies.
I will say that my husband has just literally gone last on the list. He's become
Okay.
the laundry fairy and the dinner fairy, and he makes more than I do. So,
That's great.
but he's had to take care of that.
That's
And
okay.
I don't know how long I'll keep him like that.
That's
Though.
okay.
Keeping husbands
I
happy.
can yeah, well, I mean, it's let's just put family, because this is really what you're talking about is your family, your husband, your kids, your parents. How do you fit it all in? We all want to know how we got your husband to do dinner and do the laundry.
Right. Mine even does.
My husband does the laundry too. Jay's very good at the laundry. He likes to do the laundry. He has kind of a, do you guys know about the disc? Yeah, he's a high C, so he likes all the folding, and
That's
I have no C, so this is with the laundry.
Yeah.
I usually yeah.
What else is going on? Tell me about your business. What do you need help with in your business? Yeah, hi.
I'm Shanna. Hi. I don't know if it goes along with the list, but what I've just been trying to figure out about my brain around is creating a team. How do you do that in order to fit all of these
Sure.
things?
Building a team.
Oh, it's you.
She's doing
That's another meeting.
Well, we'll definitely talk about it today because this is really, the crux of all this is really help. So we're going to talk a lot about today.
Pam,
Yeah.
just getting to the next level and maintaining all that other stuff.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
having the focus to do that.
Yep, okay. So we'll just put that on there, getting to the next level. Whatever that means. That's good. I'm not getting my squats in while I'm doing this. What else? What else is going on with your team? Anybody have any trouble getting business, or is that a problem? Okay. So getting leads.
Lead generating ideas would be great.
Lead gen, sure. We got to be able to pay for all this, right? What else? What else is going on? What else in your home or your work? Anybody? Ladies in the back are kind of quiet.
My name is Rachel. I think one of the things I'm having trouble with is being bombarded with a bunch of new information and not knowing what's important first.
Okay.
next, and-
Okay, so this is kind of what you're talking about? Is
So,
that what you mean? Okay, prioritizing. And in terms of what? In terms of work or?
what's important to know right away, so I
Right
can go
away.
ahead and start.
Because you're a new agent.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great, got it. Okay, so prioritizing all kinds of things. So prioritizing, what to do, like how to kickstart your business, I guess, right? And that goes back to lead gen. Okay, so we have a lot of good things here. I don't think we're going to be able to cover all of these in an hour and 45 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I want you all to pick maybe the top 3 things that are most important to you. So I'm going to go ahead and read them all in case some of you can't see all the way up here. And then I'm just going to, raise your hand for your top 3. Don't do more than 3, otherwise we'll have all of these. Okay, so I'll read them all first. So we got leverage, focus, scheduling, prioritizing, and prioritizing can be home and work, dealing with your family, how to prioritize your family, guilt, building a team, getting to the next level. That's also kind of goes with kickstarting your business, lead gen, housework, that probably includes dinner, and self-care. So who wants to talk about leverage today? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Keep your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So who wants to talk about focus? And I guess that's really prioritizing. Who wants to talk about that today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who wants to talk about scheduling, time blocking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11. Okay. And I'm going to just combine these two. Who wants to talk about just taking care of your family, making sure your family's important?
I would have voted for focus if I know we were going to combine it with
Okay, well, let's
prioritizing.
just do prioritizing then, I guess. And then we'll combine it. Okay, that's definitely like 18. Okay, who wants to talk about family and how to make sure your family's okay? 1, 2, 3. I mean, we all love our families, of course. Who wants to talk about dealing? Yeah. Who wants to deal with working mom guilt? Talk about working mom guilt. Okay, 4. Yeah, nobody wants to talk about it. It's just there. It's not going to go away. Actually, you know what? I had a really nice realization about a year ago. I was actually in some Keller Williams class, and I just realized that, my kids always tell me all the time, like, you're the best mom in the world. And I thought, what other metric do I need? All of the husbands, they don't worry about that. The kids come home, they're like, Daddy, I love you. And they're like, I'm a great dad, And we're like, oh, we haven't done this, And so, like, if your kids tell you that you're the best mom in the world, it's like, guess what? What other metric do you need? So
It's right when they need something. But
what's that?
I said it goes right with, oh
yeah.
best mom in the world, but can I have $50?
You must have older children. I sure to say mine aren't there yet. Yeah, mine are still sweet.
And then it's just like, no.
How old are your kids?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Tell me your name.
I'm Jay.
Jay.
Yeah.
That's easy
I have
to
a
remember.
19-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Oh, okay, yeah, so they're in the money, the
Yeah.
wealth building stage of their
Big time.
teenage years.
My 16-year-old texts me, close the house today. That's what he tells me. So,
Nice.
um,
He's your little motivator. He's
Well.
like your coach.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's working on
Put him on the
his book.
team.
Yeah,
Put him on
put
the
him on your team. Yeah, say come help me. Okay, who wants to talk about team building?
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay, kickstarting your business and or taking it to the next level.
Is that all gonna be under lead gen too?
Probably. I mean, this all kind of goes together. So,
Mhm.
okay, let's talk about, yeah, let's just stick lead gen because that's really what all this is. So, yeah, this is like everybody. Who wants to talk about housework? How to be more efficient?
That's leveraging.
How about this? Yeah, so when we talk about
Leverage.
leverage, we'll talk about leveraging your home life and we're not leveraging your work life. And what about self-care? I think that's important too. Well, we're gonna talk about it anyway. 'Cause I think it's super important. Okay, so let's talk about leverage today, focusing, scheduling, lead gen. And then if we have time, we can talk about building a team. But we'll also go into this in more detail in the afternoon. So if we don't get to that, we'll do that. Okay, so let's start by talking about talk about leverage. And I'd like to okay. So I am very, very passionate about this subject because I'm very good at leverage. Luckily for me, when I started in real estate 5 years ago, I had a wonderful husband who always encouraged me to get help. He, as you guys know, he's an executive at Keller Williams International. He has a super busy job. And I had been a stay-at-home mom for 5 years before I got into real estate. And so I literally did everything at home. And, you know, I didn't work and I didn't want him to come home and do the laundry. And I felt really guilty about all that. So he would come home and, you know, the house would look great and the kids would be happy. And, you know, it was really a gift that I gave him because as he was building his career at Keller Williams, he didn't have to deal with any of that stuff at home. And so those of you that were stay-at-home moms, I think sometimes we feel like, oh, we got such a gift and it was great for us and we got to do that. And yet, if you have a spouse, they actually got a gift too. You actually gave them a gift because you took yourself out of your career for however long you did that. And you gave them an opportunity not to have to worry about all that home life. Because if you were working, then they would have had to shoulder some of that responsibility. So that was just a big aha I had actually a couple weeks ago. I was like, wow, that was a gift I gave you. You know, you should be thanking me for that. All those years, I thought it was me who got the gift. And I did, of course. I got to stay home with my kids. But so Jay was really instrumental in helping me get leverage right away. And so let's just brainstorm. I know some of you are new agents, some of you are more experienced agents. Tell me ways in which you feel like, does everyone understand what leverage is? That word? I just want to start from there, yes. I don't see everybody nodding. Okay, it's really just getting help. Okay, it's getting help in your business. And there's lots and lots of ways to get help. For me, usually a lot of leverage for moms starts at home first, but let's kind of start with the work thing. So just throw out some ways that you guys already get help at work. Yeah.
When I started, the first leverage that I brought in, because it was like per listing, whatnot, was my photographer.
Okay.
I started doing the photos
That's huge.
originally, but that was an easy thing to hire out that wasn't somebody that was constantly on the books.
And who do you use?
I've just recently switched to Jim with, oh my goodness. He's only done one listing so far, but I love him already. Creative Listings or something like that.
Okay, Creative Listings. Do you have other photography companies here that do that for you?
Yes, I've also used the Photoshop.
Okay.
And they do great work as
And
well.
if you don't mind, what do they charge?
Both of those, I do the listing photos as well as either a video virtual tour or like a true 360. I don't like slideshow virtual tours, so I avoid those photographers that do that. So they're both in the 300 to 350 range.
300 and 350. And what's your average price point?
350.
Okay. So for a very, very minimal amount, you can get someone to,
Yes.
yeah, and they probably do a way better job than you ever did when you were
They
taking
do. They
photos.
do. It is an upfront, but at the end of the day, it's
Yeah, I
way
mean, is
worth
this
it.
the number one thing that helps you sell your listing?
Yep.
Is the photos? Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Who else is hiring out a photographer here? Not many. Okay, so this is a good tip for everybody who's taking their own photos. And this is really just as you get more and more business and as you become more and more of a professional, this is just something that you have to do. And you don't have to hire this one. I think we actually paid less than that in Austin. We've got, I guess, like a lot of creative people out of work there. We pay like $150, and there might be companies here.
There is a photographer in the area that'll do the photos and a slideshow virtual tour for $150. But like I said, I'm really big on promoting. I use it as a marketing piece.
That's
for
a
my
no-brainer. Yeah,
clients.
because think about it. By the time you drive to your listing, I mean, who knows where it is? Could be across Houston, right? Could take you 45 minutes to get there. By the time you figure it all out, maybe you're good at photos, or maybe you're not. You got to fiddle with all the windows and the lights, and take a million shots because you don't know what you're doing. So maybe you spend an hour there probably, and then you got to drive all the way back, and then you got to go home and resize them, do all that. I mean, that's like 4 or 5 hours. So, I mean, if your dollar per hour is less than, $60 an hour, which for all of you, it is more than $60 an hour. You should definitely do that.
I use one that she actually does the YouTube, the virtual tour. She
Uh-huh.
uploads everything to realtor.com for me and
Perfect.
also the MLS. And I pay like $150.
$150. Yeah. What's the name of that?
Elizabeth Moore.
Elizabeth Moore. Okay. So this is like a no-brainer. Okay. So, and if you don't want to, if you're worried about like the listing's going to expire, or someone's going to, one thing I put in my contracts is, if they withdraw the listing, then they have to pay for the photos. So then you're really not on anything. So, who else has some leverage in their work that they want to share?
I have a marketing assistant.
Awesome. And what do they do?
She does all my social media. She does photos for rental properties. She does my mailers for my sphere and my farm. She does some admin, some listing entry.
And is she on salary, or how do you pay her?
She's hourly.
She's hourly. Okay.
Um,
How many hours a week do you have her?
Probably on average, no more than 24, but she's normally about 21.
Okay. So she's 21 hours a week.
I'm sorry, every 2 weeks, because I pay
Okay.
by.
So she's like 10 hours a week. Okay. And if you don't mind, what do you pay her?
I pay her $10 an hour.
$10 an hour. Okay, great. Whose time is more valuable than $10 an hour? Raise your hand. Okay, some of you are not raising your hands. There, thank you. You right there, second to last row. The first time you raised your hand, I'm so happy. Okay, so could somebody like this kind of change your world? Oh, sorry, I have terrible handwriting. Listings entry. How did you find this person?
How do I find that person? Another agent had been interviewing for an assistant.
Okay.
And she initially was supposed to be an admin assistant.
Uh-huh.
And when we got into it, she's much more marketing oriented.
Awesome.
And so I just switched kind of that over. I'm a high key, so the paperwork doesn't
You like the
bother
paperwork.
me as much.
Uh-huh.
So that was.
And yet you're way too talented to be doing your own paperwork. Understand that. Do you understand that?
I would,
Is your
I'm
dollar
in
per
the
hour?
budget. I'm in the budget phase.
Understand. No, I'm just saying. Just because you like it doesn't mean you should be doing it. Okay.
That's the hardest thing.
That is the hardest thing. Yeah, we didn't talk about letting go, but maybe we can talk about that. Okay, so this is awesome. Does this expand any of your world? So tell me, she only wants to work 10 hours a week, or what's her situation?
She has kids in
Mhm.
school, and she really enjoys photography. She also does photos for other agents.
Uh-huh.
So that's passion.
So are there other moms in your life who would be willing to do a part-time job, who look at you and see you as a real estate agent, think that's really cool, I'm interested in real estate, and yet I don't want a full-time job, who would be interested in doing that? I mean, I think for a lot of us, yeah, I mean, we could get moms in our neighborhoods who would do some of this stuff for us. And they would think it's fun. You know, they don't do it for the money. They do it because they don't have a job and they're probably somewhat bored at home. Okay, what other help do you guys have in your business?
Transaction coordinator.
Transaction coordinator.
Thank God for them. Amen.
And that they do your contract to close, is that right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and you pay them per transaction?
transaction.
Okay, what do you pay here?
If it's a listing, it's $375, and if it's a buyer, it's $4.
Okay, and what's your average price point?
$2.
200, okay.
And that allows me to sit with children at night.
That's a bargain.
It absolutely is.
And the great thing about this is it's a cost of sale. Can anybody tell me what that is? Cost of sale? You don't pay it unless you close. Right? You don't have to, it's not like this one where you have to pay it up front. This one, you don't even have to pay it until it closes. So it's not even like money has to come out of your pocket. So this is a no-brainer. Who's using a transaction coordinator? You just told me you were.
Well, me.
So raise your hand. Okay, so only one person is. Can you tell us what's that take? What has that done for your business?
Well, I haven't jumped off a roof. So
I'm so glad.
it's mental health. It's wonderful. I mean, I can't say enough about it. When I execute a contract, I send everything to her and she goes and she takes care of scheduling inspections and because we've worked a lot of that out ahead, like, you know, if they want referrals about who, she has all of that. She sends this really awesome email introducing herself and what she does and gives them all this information. And
is she better at this than you ever were?
Way
better. Is she actually training you while she's doing it?
Yeah, very much. And so she sends that out and I get compliments on her all the time. People call and say, she just wants to let you know she's wonderful, you know, and she makes sure that our timeline, you know, that nobody's going past off. I mean, she watches everything.
She makes sure you get paid.
Right.
That's her
and
job.
she does my green sheet as soon as inspection amendment, after we do inspection, we have that final amendment. She turns in the
GA loves you. You get all your paperwork.
Yeah, they're always, I don't get anything kicked back anymore.
Exactly. I know. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Who could benefit from this? Raise your hand. Who would would that feel good to have that person in your life?
I'm not giving a name.
Again, if your average price point's 200, so your average commission is $6,000. Okay. And so a fraction of that, because it's not that this is so much work, it's that there's all those loose ends. Okay. There's a song, I can't remember who sang it, but it says there's loose ends tying a noose in the back of your mind. And as moms, we have a lot of those loose ends. And that's really what, you know, I know you've all been here where you wake up in the middle of the night like this because you forgot something or think you forgot something. And this person takes that anxiety away because they're better at it than you are. And for those of you that are not detail people, like I'm not a detail person. Yeah, I'm not a detail person. They're going to do a way better job at it than you ever will. And they're also going to get you a lot of compliments from your customers. Because let me tell you, if you have a 30-day contract to close period like we do in Austin, this is where people remember you. Okay. If you deliver lousy service during the last 30 days, they're not going to refer you to their friends and family. But if you deliver amazing service, and for most people, amazing service means they kept up with me. They told me what was going to happen before it happened, which I'm sure your contract to close person does. They kept up with the deadlines. They communicated with me a lot. And when your life gets busy, you know, there are times probably where you're not touching your clients for 2 weeks in that contract to close period. And they're like, oh, well, we were best friends. We went out and looked at a million houses together and all of a sudden you're gone. I thought we were buddies. So this person's going to prevent that. And we have somebody on our team who does this full time. And this is absolutely the first leverage that I got in my work. And she's the person that gets all the compliments. So we send out a survey now after our transaction is closed, and it used to be like, oh, Wendy, you're so awesome, you're the best agent, and now it's like Jamie, 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 Jamie. I get the survey, I click on it, I'm like, wow, they love her, and that's her personality, and they love her.
She's also in Florida. So I don't have to deal with her every day. You know, I don't
Yeah,
have to
they
have
don't have to be in your
somebody
office.
well, I kind of like to kind of be in a cave, you know, and not have people move. And so it's nice. She's
like to
not
focus.
in my office.
Where would you find these people?
Do you have any that work in the Houston metro area through Keller Williams? Any of you guys know of any?
The one that Bobby uses used to be here in the Houston area. She
Okay.
moved out of state,
Okay.
so it's all virtual, but she knows it.
What's her name?
She's an agent, so there are a couple of them.
Gertrude.
Gertrude?
I'm joking.
She said she's
You're not-
not sharing.
is she full? You're not gonna share. This is
I
a
don't know.
mastermind.
She's full of her name's Mandy.
Mandy. Does she have a last name?
No,
No, she does not.
She's like Pat, you know, it's one name. Mandy Troutman.
Don't worry, a rising tide raises all ships.
Basically,
Say her last name again.
Troutman.
Troutman.
Yeah, she worked for the Kings.
Well, hey guys, back there, it sounds like a real need here. So if there's anybody else that you can recommend, right, to, because we have a couple people that work in our office that do it, and
We're kind of finally at that count.
Yeah.
Where it starts to make sense
Yeah.
to have someone local.
Yeah.
Because we're approaching 200 agents, and
I
that's
know,
about
it's
where it
great.
starts making sense.
absolutely. And I think there's other, do this, I don't know the names of them. You can probably Google, virtual assistant, contract to close, real estate. But I think you want a recommendation because you do want somebody good because that's really important.
My name is Carol Bowden. I work with Susan Brown, and I am her transaction coordinator and
Okay.
/ marketing person and
Oh,
/
okay.
licensed agent.
Nice. Okay.
So
You do it all.
and Susan, as everyone knows, buys everything. So, it's trying to prioritize
Yeah.
everything for her. But we are going that direction too, because to try to be the transaction coordinator and handle all the SEO and the marketing.
Yeah.
There's not enough hours in the day.
That's
and we
right.
are dropping the ball
Mhm.
because it's just one person.
I mean, and you can hire someone full-time. This is going to be probably your cheapest full-time hire ever if you just hire a transaction to close. This is the person I pay the least in my office. She's awesome. She has this personality. She's an ISC, which is the most common personality profile. It's easy to find these people. People like this job. They're people who like systems. If you have a good systems in place, it's easy to find that person. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about work leverage. What else are you guys doing?
I do have kind of like the marketing assistant, but he doesn't do so much marketing. He'll do whatever I ask him to, but he does a lot of the video stuff and tech stuff. So like website and junk like that,
Okay.
blogs, and he doesn't write the blogs, but he's getting it kind of all set up the way it needs to be. But he
So
does
he's your tech
listing
guy.
entries and all that, and I pay him $8.50 an hour.
Okay.
He's college.
Okay, great. How'd you find him?
He's my pastor's son.
Nice.
And he's just real techy. So he's real detail oriented and he just does exactly what you
Yeah,
want.
whose dollar per hour is worth more than $8.50? Okay, I can see all of you raising your hands. I want everyone to raise their hands. Okay, thank you. Even the guys in the back.
Bobby, does he have a full-time job?
Just me.
Okay. Just you. Yeah, sounds great. And that's amazing leverage. Who would like to do a blog who doesn't want to blog every day? I mean, come on, hello. What else? What other help do you have in your business?
I've got somebody like Carol. I've got a full-time assistant.
Okay, awesome.
So, but she handles the marketing, the transaction coordination.
And how did you find her?
I knew her previously, but I made a post on Facebook, just kind of put it out in my
Sure.
sphere that I was
Yeah.
looking to hire somebody, and she was kind of done with the current agent that she was working with,
Uh-huh.
and it was just getting to be a little too much, and so she's jumped on board with me. And
Nice. What does she take off your plate?
just everything with the listing appointment. I mean,
No, come on, I'm serious.
I know. The only thing that I
So
still
she
do
does-
right
she does
now are
contract to
my
close.
CMAs and the physical appointments.
Okay, so she does contract to close.
She does. She handles my calendar.
She does your calendar. What does that mean?
Scheduling, making sure that every little detail is on there, you know, the option period ends, third party ends, you know, just so that I'm aware of
Right.
these things
Right.
with
So you
notices.
just at a glance, you're like,
Days
boom.
before,
Okay.
exactly. I've been doing bowls, so she's kind of gone through and time blocked my entire calendar, so that I know what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm supposed to be doing it. Because it's not about selling real estate; it's about following a schedule.
That's true.
And she
Does she input your listings then?
she inputs listings, does all of my like mail outs outside of the newsletter because I write that. It's kind of like the blogging. I you know, the postcards are pretty standard,
So
but
so you send out like postcards to your sphere or to a farm or something like that?
farm
Okay.
just listed, just sold, and then on, you know, random marketing stuff.
Right, okay.
Um,
Does she maintain your database?
yes, she's
Do you
been
have a
updating
database?
it. Yes.
How long have you had her?
Since September.
How's that working out?
Amazing.
Are you happy? Happy mom? Would you share what you pay her? You don't have to.
Yeah, she's salary, and so it's like 31,000 a year.
And you pay benefits or what do you have?
No benefit.
Just her taxes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's your average commission?
Between 9 and 10,000.
So she's 3 commissions for you?
Yeah.
For the year. And how much do you think that how much business has she allowed you to bring in? Since September, let's just say. How much has she freed you up to do?
I started to say, yeah, we've been bringing in a decent amount here at the end of the year. Kind of
You were
thing.
virtual before that.
Yeah, I had a virtual assistant before that.
It's
But
different.
yes. I realized that I needed somebody in-house before I needed to go virtual. And I will go virtual again. Like, that's amazing leverage. But yeah, I mean, it's.
Do you think that she's paid for herself already? Almost?
Easily.
Easily.
Okay.
So September, October, November, December, 4 months. She started when? September, mid-September, something like that, 3 months.
Yeah.
She's already paid for herself.
Yeah.
Does everybody get that? You know, she's already paid for herself. Okay. Was it scary for you to make that hire?
It was. And one of my issues is I know what leverage can do for you. My big question is when. When is the right time to add that person in?
Yeah.
And you know, the more I spend time reading the books and attending the trainings and all of that, it's not always about the when, it's about the who. And it was, you know, I put it out there and I told myself, if I don't have somebody, I'd like to have somebody before the end of the year. And I put it out in August kind of thing.
Okay.
And within a day, she had reached out to me and, you know, hey, I'm, you know, would you consider taking me? And I'm like, yeah, that's.
So how did you know in August that it was the right time? What was going on in your?
I probably knew in the spring that it was the right time, but I had been trying to make the virtual assistant work and was struggling with that.
Okay.
It was taking more time for me to manage the virtual assistant than they were saving me at that point. And when
When did you hire the virtual assistant?
Beginning of last year,
Okay.
I guess.
So if you'd hired this person at the beginning of last year, you would have made an extra $90,000.
Yeah, easily.
Okay. Does everybody get that?
And is that because because she wasn't doing all the other stuff? Because you just had somebody doing just
She like
contract
contract
close?
or
I
something?
was so like with the contract to close stuff.
Yeah.
I was still having to scan everything and send it to. I mean, there was still just a lot of paper trail that I was having to deal with, and so getting it all to them and just because a virtual assistant really needs a little more hand-holding and needs a lot of direction in terms of, this is what I want you to do today. And I don't have time to sit down every single morning and send out this detailed plan of, these are the
You want
tasks that I
somebody
want.
who can just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so Denise has been an assistant for a real estate assistant for like 14 years. And so I knew that, I mean, she's come in and put things on her plate that I should have been doing years ago for my clients, but she just knows, she takes care of it.
Does she do a better job than you did at those things?
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's licensed.
No.
She could be though.
Okay, so she doesn't, okay. Because I wondered that about hiring a licensed assistant versus, you know. so
We
that
get
they
all
could
of our,
do
I have everybody on my staff get licensed just
and you
because,
pay them more because of it?
no, I mean, the average agent in America makes $12,000 a year, so she's making 31.
How many hours does she work?
Right around 40. I don't make her track it because I don't really care.
She's
If she can
responsible.
get everything
She can
done in
do it.
25, then more power
Right.
to her, kind of thing. I let her work from home if she needs to. You know, I mean, we do everything in the cloud, so she doesn't have to be in the office to do any other than scanning, you know. But you know, we just it's easier that way.
Of course.
So.
Well, you want to hire somebody who can do a good job for you. You want to hire somebody you have to micromanage, unless you're somebody who likes to micromanage people. Yeah.
So along with the team building and the leverage, how do you make the distinction between having someone that gets licensed, which I think is a great idea, and then all of a sudden, well, now they want to go off and be an agent rather than doing what they were there
Sure,
to do?
sure. Does she want to be an agent?
Nope.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You need to hire the right personality profile. Williams, I'm not going to get too jargony, but there's actually a great class that Keller Williams teaches. It's called RSTLM. It's actually where I met Jeremy, right? That's where we met, right? Oh, yeah. And it's called Recruit, Select, Train, Lead, and Motivate. And they have a RSTLM Lite. So I would encourage you guys, if you're interested in this kind of thing, to get your team leaders or somebody in here to teach this class, because it really shows you what kind of person you're looking for. And it's a very sophisticated process. I'm sorry. It's a very sophisticated process so that you get the right person for the job, because it is really scary. I mean, how do you know? Luckily, you had somebody who's been doing it for 14 years. So that makes everything a lot easier. And this afternoon, I'll talk about my first hire, which was she was an okay hire. She wasn't really the right person for the job. I really needed someone who's like yours, who could just come in and do everything. And I just hired kind of an assistant. And my next hire that I made in that position, she's an operations director. She absolutely does not want to be an agent. She understands that, you know, I have the vision for my team, and she understands that she's going to create wealth by making me succeed, right? And so she's like you. I mean, the more money you make, the more money you're going to pay her, right? Yeah. If she works with, it sounds like she had a terrible experience with her last agent. And if you continue to feed her, you know, share in the profits, maybe at the end of the year, whatever you decide to do, as you succeed and grow, she's going to succeed and grow. She's never going to want to go off and be an agent. I mean, it's a hard job.
Hiring somebody that was already experienced in real estate
Mhm.
versus having to train somebody
Right.
and maybe pay less. I would think, and I could be wrong, it would be better to spend the extra money not having to do as much of the training.
I think personally for me, I don't think I could find somebody in Austin, Texas for $31,000. I mean, maybe here you can, but I pay my operations director a lot more than that. And if you don't have systems in place and you've got to train them, then I would probably pay them more, because you haven't set up your systems and they're going to have to set up your systems.
Mhm.
I mean, Gary always talks about, you know, you want to spend as much money as you can afford and get the best help, because that's how you're going to succeed. I mean, if Gary had that mentality at the beginning and he hadn't hired Mark, he'd hired somebody cheaper. He hadn't hired Mary, he'd hired somebody cheaper. Where would the company be?
Yeah.
Right? If you have a big vision for your business, and you all should, you know, whatever that looks like to you, if you want to have some leverage, then you need to be able to pay them well. And so I want to go back to kind of your thought process around hiring. So you knew you had a feeling at the beginning of the year that you wanted to find someone, and then you're like, I know I need this. And so what did you do? Like, did you save up some money to pay for that person, or what was your?
No, I think because I knew that if I found the right person, which it was after what I went through with the virtual, and I felt like I did a pretty good job at like I had a really good virtual assistant.
Yeah.
Like he was amazing. It just wasn't the right fit at the right time.
Well, it wasn't maybe the right fit for you.
Exactly. And so I knew that I wanted to come at it in a slow, methodical, like, I don't want to rush it. I don't want to hire out of necessity,
Right.
And so I just knew that if I waited and found the right person for the job, that I didn't really have to have anything saved up because they were going to walk in and immediately free me up.
And that happened, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't that confident in myself. So what I did when I hired my first assistant, because I was really nervous about, having to watch out for somebody. I mean, that's a big deal, right? I mean, you have your family that you have to watch out for, and some of you have your parents and things like that. And right now I run a business, okay, and my monthly expenses are this much money. This is how much money I spend to run my business every month. That is a scary number, I can tell you. That keeps me up at night. And so what I did when I hired my first assistant is I only felt like I could hire someone for 30 hours a week. And so what I did was I saved up the money for 3 months. So I got 3 months of salary. And I had that cushion in my business so that I knew at the end of 3 months, because it's not like you're investing $31,000.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So really what you're doing is you're investing, what's that divided by 12?
I basically pay her $2,400 a month for every.
Yeah. Okay. So
Right, round about there.
$2,400.
It's $1,200 every 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's like 7,300, something like that.
That's the investment.
Yeah. So this is really all that you're investing. And you told me your commission is $10,000. So you really invested 2/3 of one commission for that 3 months. It's not like you're investing 31,000. And that's what I did. So I saved up 3 months of her salary. And then I knew at the end of that 3 months, if she wasn't working out and she wasn't freeing me up to make that much money back, then I was just going to let her go. Does that make sense? Okay. Awesome. So who wants to hire their first assistant? Okay, so let's talk about, not everybody has an assistant. What are some other kind of part-time things
Well,
you
and
can
that's a
do?
full-time role. It could end up being one
Totally,
of those
part-time.
moms.
Totally.
who
You're
is
$10 an hour.
definitely, only looking for 20 to 25 hours. a
Yeah,
day.
and you don't have to do this when you're a big mega agent. I can tell you, I hired my first assistant, okay, because I didn't want to work. I mean, I was used to being a full-time stay-at-home mom. I did not, my first 2 years in real estate, this was my schedule. That's what I worked. I worked 9 to noon because my daughter was in preschool. I did that for 2 years. Okay, here's my schedule. We'll talk about this afternoon. I worked 9 to noon, and then I worked 8 to 2:30. Both my kids were in school. Next year I worked 8 to 2:30. Actually, that's not right. 8 to 2:30 plus 2 afternoons, and then 8 to 5:30. That was my schedule, and then that's what I worked then. So, when I didn't hire anyone that first year, but I hired someone here. And, you don't have to have a big, sounds like you have a big business, but you don't have to have a big business to start hiring people, because the more people you hire, the more it frees you up to do the things that you're good at, which for all of us, it should be getting business, right? Generating leads. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to spend $22,000 a month. If you get good at leverage like me, then that's where you'll be. You'll make $1 million in commissions in a year. So, okay.
I'll help you come back to the schedule that you just wrote down
Yeah.
and get the schedule.
Sure.
I have a feeling that probably piques some people's interest.
Yeah. I could definitely tell you. Yeah, we could do that. Well, I can do it because I have a lot of help.
Oh.
That's how
But
I
you
can do
didn't
it.
mention, so we got a lot of initial
Well,
people here.
Yeah. So we'll
How
talk
do
about
they
that.
deal with those phone calls that come in at 3:00 going, we want to go look at this house?
Yep, that's a good. That's hard. Well, and I did have plenty of times where my kids were in the house and I was like in the master bathroom in the shower with the door closed, like beating on the door. Definitely did that. Okay, so what other, let's get a few more suggestions before we go back to the scheduling, because that's on our list. Just maybe a few more things that people are doing to get leverage.
Buyer's agent.
Buyer's agent, okay, awesome. Tell us about that. You guys work together, obviously. What do you do?
I'm her buyer's agent.
Okay.
I work buyer leads when people call off for signs.
Okay.
I go out and try to get them as clients. They don't have.
Okay. There's no try. There's only do.
I do actually. I have
Nice.
business.
Obviously. Okay, so, and when did you join the team?
Couple months ago.
A couple months
It
ago.
hasn't been too
Okay,
long, yeah.
great. So kind of when you hired your,
Yes.
Like a
so you
month
got that
after
taste
that.
of leverage and you're like, I want more. That's how I was. Okay, so tell me your feeling around that. You have all these buyers, now your business is getting bigger. And you're like, I don't have time to put all these people in my car all the time.
Well, and I mean, the buyers, they take more time than the listings
Absolutely.
do.
Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started off like focusing on being a listing agent
Mhm.
because I've got a 3 and a 5 year old.
Yeah.
And I started about 5 years ago.
Smart.
Well, a 4 and 6 year old, and started about 5 years ago. And it was just one of those where it was like, I got tired of all the nights and the weekends and,
course.
you know, all of that. And I've always been pretty good at like managing my schedule and making sure that
Setting expectations with your clients.
Exactly. And, I mean, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. It has to be on there, which I'm trying to make sure that we continue that. But it was this, like a buyer's agent is probably, not to downplay Stephanie, but some of the cheapest leverage you can get. Because again, it's, they don't get paid until close. It's not like she's on a salary or whatnot, but she's coming
I
in.
wouldn't say cheapest, I would say least risky, right?
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. So, it's,
You want to know what I paid my buyer team this year? They made in excess of. Yeah, right. You can make a lot of money as a buyer agent. It's actually going to be the highest. If you have a big business, it's going to be the most well-paid person on your team.
well, and based on our goal planning session,
Yeah.
that's what the goal is
Yeah.
for next year.
So what did tell me your name again?
Stephanie.
Stephanie. Okay, what did Stephanie do for you in terms of your work and home life?
Say that again.
What did Stephanie do for you in terms of your work and home life?
It's definitely freed up my availability to either A, have more time at home, or B, to be doing more listing appointments, which in turn brings in more buyers for her. So I'm able to use it as leverage for both, it allows me to focus on my one thing, just getting the listings in the door kind of thing. And
So you've got someone who's handling all the paperwork, all the contract to close, a lot of the marketing stuff, okay? All your buyers are taken care of. Someone's inputting your listings, following up with your listing clients. So, you get to the office in the morning, what do you have to do?
I'm supposed to, according to my time blocking, be making phone calls.
Okay,
Lead
yeah.
generating.
Yeah, well, you've got time to do it now, right?
Is there an ideal production level that you should be at in order to have a buyer's agent, or is it just kind of whenever you feel you're wanting?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a great question. And there's a wonderful book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent that my husband wrote. And in the MREA model, he actually, at that point, he wasn't much of a writer. He was more like just typing up the notes with Gary and Jay. But so ideally, when you start, this is you, you're going to have 2 admin first. Okay, you're going to have a transaction coordinator, and this can be virtual or whatever, part-time. And then you really have your office manager, your operations manager. And really only then, that's when you need to really think about getting your buyer leverage. Because what a lot of people do is they're like, I don't want to work with all those buyers. They take so much time. I'm just going to hire a buyer's agent. And then you've got 2 people with all that paperwork and everything building up, no systems, and it's just like a shaky foundation. So what these guys do, what the admin do, is they give you a really solid foundation for your business so that you can expand. And in my office, I've got my office manager, and she manages people. Okay, so my transaction coordinator's over here, my inside sales over here. And she actually hired and trained these people for me. I didn't do that.
It's not volume oriented necessarily, just.
I think in the book it says, what does it say, 6 million? Something like that. Get your first buyer's agent. I did it way earlier. So that's just, I don't want to work that much, you know? So
Now, for your buyer agents, do you require them to do lead generation?
I do.
Or
You don't have to.
Do you have do you have a goal for them?
Yeah,
A set
well, I don't
thing?
have a goal for them. They have a goal for themselves
Okay.
because they want to succeed. That's the kind of leader I am. I mean, hopefully that's probably how you are leading your folks is, you know, it sounds like you did a goal setting session. You sit down at your goal setting session and I say, hey, you know, I mean, I have one buyer agent. She's amazing. This year, she's going to close $18 million worth of real estate with a showing assistant. She is phenomenal talent. She's way better at that job than I ever was. Like everybody on my team is way better at the jobs. Only thing I'm good at is doing mom's masterminds. And getting Houston referrals. And so she has a huge goal. This year she wants to close 90 transactions. She's already at 66 for the year this year with a showing assistant. She wants to do 90. And so if I would come to her, I probably would have said, oh, you know, why don't you do 70 next year? But she's like, no, I'm going to do, you know, I didn't say that. She came to me. Like at the end of last year, she came to me with this big goal of doing, basically she said 19 million. She made 18. She literally pushed her goal sheet across from me at our 411. And I was like, you know, big goal, because that is scary to have somebody on your team that's that talented. It's terrifying. And yet she understands that without the team around her, there's no way she could do this. She's a new agent. It's her first full year in real estate. Yeah. So basically to answer your question, you know, obviously, you know, you want everybody on your team to be in line with the vision because that is what a team is. So everybody has to get on the same page, and you as a leader, that's your job to get everybody on the same page. But at the same time, you know, every buyer agent, everybody needs to understand their role in making that happen for you. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. So you said that's her first full year. So how did she start off with you?
So I had a pretty, what I would consider pretty mediocre buyer agent. And it was a little bit awkward because he was actually a referral from Gary Keller. So he was kind of working with me. And I mean, he was a super nice guy. And yet he was not amazing talent. You know, Gary will tell you there's two kinds of talent. You have talent, you have cul-de-sac talent, and then you have, what's the other word for it? Like super duper talent, I guess. And so he just was okay. He was doing his job, and I had to like motivate him a lot and make him do everything he needed to do. And my clients liked him okay. And then I met this lady when I was at a Keller Williams event. She worked for Aaron Armstrong, who's a mega agent in Nashville, and she was doing 100+ buyer deals that year. And I sat down and I had dinner with her, and I just was blown away by her. I thought she was amazing. And one of the amazing things about Keller Williams is that you can go to these events and you meet people like that, and you see these people on stage, and it just blows you away. You're like, what? You know, it just blows your whole paradigm of what a buyer agent can do out of the water. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to find somebody like that. I'm going to find a Brianna. I'm going to find somebody incredible like that. So I kept my old buyer agent on, and then luckily he just deselected at one point and went to work with his dad, and that was fine. And so then I had an opportunity to hire somebody else, and I was at so then part of my lead generation was like talking to people, hey, I'm looking for somebody who wants to be in sales. So I hired this lady. She worked at IBM for 12 years. She's a super, super extroverted person. She's a total mind for numbers because she worked at IBM. And yet she was very extroverted, working at home. Like she was so miserable. Okay. And so I had a conversation with her, and she said, yeah, I'm interested, because her husband also worked for Keller Williams International, and he'd been encouraging her to be a real estate agent for a long time. And she said, yeah, I'm totally interested. And yet I really need to replace my salary. I make $125,000 a year. Okay. So for me, that's a challenge, right? How am I gonna explain to her how she can become a very new agent and replace her salary at IBM with all the benefits and everything and all that kind of stuff? And so we just worked out all the numbers. She's never been in real estate. She doesn't know that the average agent in Austin does 2 deals a year. She has no clue. She's like, oh, sure, I'll do 50. I'm like, great, perfect. So her first 7 months in real estate, she got licensed after family reunion last year. So in March, she did about $7 million last year. Okay, incredible. So, and she made her money back. She made over $100,000 last year. And at the same time, she's a mom. She has a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old. And so we need to get her some help. And so she ended up sharing some of that with a showing assistant. And then next year, she's like, I want to make more money. Because she's extremely competitive. And this was her goal. Her goal was 19, actually. I can't even tell you. She's like, I'm so disappointed. I'm like, I know. Why didn't you get to 19? So, yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah. So that was my thought process. Because really, I mean, you know, when you go to these events and you see these people on stage, in a way, they seem so far to reach. And yet for me, you know, you can meet someone in the hallway and you're like, well, you're not even that smart. And you did 40 million last year. I mean, come on.
Right.
Okay.
And so does she receive leads from?
Yeah, she receives leads from me.
And then she gets her own as well?
Yep. She does. Everybody leads and writes on my team. She brought in a lot of listing leads for me too.
Awesome. Can you take that like a 5-minute break?
Of course, yeah. If anybody has to go to the bathroom or anything, just go, because I'm not a break person. So
Okay,
just go.
I'll be right.
So any other questions about work leverage? Then we could transition to home leverage, because that's the fun part.
Made.
Right, yeah. How many of you have help at home? Okay. Tell me what you're doing. You have a housekeeper?
Mm-hmm.
What do you pay her?
$100 a week.
How much?
100.
100. Is that like the best money you ever spent in your whole life?
You know it.
Yeah. Who else has a housekeeper? Who else aspires to having a housekeeper? Yes, everybody. I'm telling you guys, this is the best leverage that you can have, because it's going to free you up to spend time with your children.
That's not
Awesome.
laundry though, just
Yeah.
FYI that ain't.
Yeah, it's the best
I
thing.
do laundry.
And then that day when she comes and you come home and everything looks great, and you're just like,
You walk in,
it feels so good. It smells good.
Tuesday.
You're so happy.
You go home.
Yeah.
It's gonna last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The
Well, somebody gave me a good tip.
The whole 5 minutes to go to bed.
I know. I
Stay
know.
outside for a little bit.
And yet it's the best 5 minutes. It's really the best 5 minutes. What other help do y'all have at home?
Long time.
I have somebody that picks my kids up after school.
Awesome. So like
Keeps
after
them
school
from-
nanny, or
We just call her a child assistant.
she's a driver. Actually, somebody was telling me,
Yeah, she's a driver.
somebody was telling me that they had this 14-year-old son. We did kind of a panel at my office about this week. And it's this amazing woman in my office. She's going to do like $60 million worth of real estate this year. She has 5 kids. One of them's a special needs kid. And she always had a driver who picked up her kids for after school activities. And her son, who was like 14 at the time, because she wasn't calling him a driver at the time. She was calling him the nanny or whatever. And finally she said, you know what? She's your driver. And I was this beautiful UT, co-ed. And so then after that, the 14-year-old's like, yeah, she's my driver, He loved it. So yeah, does this save you a lot of time after school? So how does that work?
Well, like whenever I first got her a few months ago, the little one was in football.
Okay.
And so one of them gets out of school at 2:45,
Uh-huh.
the high schooler. And so she brings him to the house.
Okay.
And then if I have anything for her to do, she'll do that.
Okay.
Um,
Like what?
It pretty much she'll do anything.
Empty
If
the
I-
dishwasher.
She'll text me and say, "Do you need me to do anything?" And
Uh-huh.
I'll say, "Make sure if I know the oldest one doesn't have homework or
Uh-huh.
he doesn't have somewhere else to go,
Yeah.
I'll say, make sure he does the dishes."
That was like the
And-
first thing I loved was
Yeah.
getting someone to leverage out overseeing homework.
Yeah.
Because who likes that?
Nobody.
Ooh.
And then she would go pick up the other one who gets out of school at 4, bring him home, give him a snack, make sure he did his
Okay.
homework, and have him ready for football and drop him off at football.
That's awesome.
And sometimes I came in the middle of that and I would just go to my office and do whatever, and she's still,
Love it.
in there.
Love it.
So I just have her for like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's all
a day.
busy work. It's not
Yes.
like it's quality time with
No.
your kids. It's not. Okay, so
That's a
get
good point. I'm glad you said that.
get over
I
it.
struggle with that stuff.
Get over it. I read a great statistic.
Oh, no.
No, I
I'm
read
not
a great
argue about
statistic.
their shoestrings or their shoes too tight with you, but she'll just say, put your shoes on, and he'll say, okay, and then get in the car.
I know.
You know, so.
Well, and I read a statistic that actually working mothers spend more time with their children than stay-at-home mothers in the 70s. Okay, we're obsessed with spending time with our children. Okay, we don't need to do it. I mean,
Get over it, right? Just get over
Get
it.
them on video. That's gonna be on the internet. But I mean, 30 minutes of quality time with your children is worth hours and hours of quality time. I mean, those of you that have older children, maybe not when they're 1 or babies or whatever, but once kids get older, playing a game with them and having that one-to-one is way more important and focused than, you're working, you're busy, your kids are trying to yell at you. I mean, your kids know when you're distracted. And it doesn't feel good. It feels really bad when you're at home and you're trying to do things and you get annoyed at your kids because you're busy and they're trying to get your attention. I mean, just let somebody else do that. Get your work done, come home and be there, just be there. So, okay, what other help do you guys have at home? Somebody said lawn guy. Who's got a lawn guy? Okay, love that. We have a pool guy. I tried to do that for a while. That was a mistake. Yeah, huge mistake. Yeah.
I still have 2 teenage children at home, and miracles of all miracles, they can run the washing machine.
Okay, look at this.
correctly.
Leverage your kids.
So it's like, oh, you're gonna have to grow up and
That's what kids used to do.
get to a certain point that you've got to do this for yourself,
Yeah.
or make enough money to hire someone. So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
That's why
so
they go to college and then they just
for
bring
you.
it home to you. You don't teach them.
Good
Well,
for
I
you.
sent mine off to college up
Send them
north, so
far
he
away.
can't send home the lawn. Perfect.
That's a smart.
Perfect.
Well, back in the old days, you'd have like 7 kids, and then the first 2 would take care of all the rest of them.
That's what my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was smart.
Start doing, get on that.
Not sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm good. What other help do you guys have at home?
I don't have it, but it's like my first goal. Like I want this before I want a housekeeper. I want to cook. I want a chef.
If you don't have a housekeeper, girl, you need to get one.
I know.
Okay, so like, what does that look like?
I have a Roomba, so it
No,
does
it's
really
not.
good.
It's not the same.
Somebody can clean the toilets.
Yeah, just because like part of the whole self-care is like nutrition and all that. We're in such a convenience drive-through type mode, and I hate that I'm raising my kids like that. And there's only so much
Yeah, we all
Chick-fil-A
do.
I can deal with,
Yeah,
you
we all
know.
do.
So yeah, that's like number one. I
Okay,
mean, to
well-
cook and buy groceries. Although Amazon's going to start delivering to my door, so
Okay, well, first of all, y'all know about Amazon Prime, right?
Yep. Love it.
I didn't hear y'all say yes.
Yes.
$75 a year, 2-day free delivery.
Yeah. Amazing.
I've never heard of it. Seriously?
For food?
Oh, it
What
is
is
the
it?
best. I
It's
accidentally
like
clicked it
price
2 years ago and I was like,
Oh,
yes.
Amazon Prime. Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm out of Q-tips. You're like, 2 days, get them. And then, so there's something called, I don't know if this is in Houston. This just came to Austin. It's called Instacart. Y'all have this here? You ever heard of it?
And there's some things that Houston has that we don't over here.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
they deliver groceries.
It's not here yet.
We used
Yeah.
to get for my old job downtown that we would have, they would deliver stuff
Okay.
to us, and I can't remember the name of it right now.
Okay.
But I think they only do it to the downtown area.
And so even
Gary
though,
showed the video.
A lot of times it's those
Mega
really
Camp.
nice
Showed
grocery
the
stores that.
Instacart.
oh, was it
video.
Instacart? Okay, yeah, I was just, it just came to Austin. Yeah, I haven't used it yet, but I fully intend to. People on my team use it. And yet, could you hire someone to get your groceries for you? Yeah. We use a little app. It's called All List,
Use your high school to do that.
and it's super handy. Okay, it's an application. You can share it with your nanny and your husband. I have several of them. I don't have my phone in here, but I think we have like a Target list. We have Central Market. Welcome. We have like a shop, a Christmas list. Okay, because we have a nanny that does personal assistant type stuff. And so then we all know, like, okay, if my husband's going to Target, he knows all the things that we need. So we add it all separately and then check it off as we go. And that's super handy.
There's actually one on the iPhone that comes with it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not called All List, it's just.
Yeah, there's a million of them. Yeah.
But it's
That's
sort
just
of
the
on
one we
your
use.
phone.
Oh, yeah. What's good? Yeah, it's just the iPhone one. There's all kinds of grocery or like vegetable deliveries. I'm sure you guys have some of that here. But definitely looking at that. But you could definitely hire somebody to grocery shop for you and get that list. And then every time she goes, she knows exactly what to do. What I did with her is I just, you guys all have your same food that you buy all the time. So I just walked her through the grocery store with me and said, this is what we buy. This is what we buy. And if I was really on ball, I would have taken like a picture of everything and had some kind of a better system for that. But that's pie in the sky. Okay. What other help do y'all have at home?
Well, I just had one turn 16 and I'm buying him a car today. That's help that I'm gonna have.
Oh,
He
yeah.
doesn't know that, so let's not share.
Yeah.
That's my Christmas present, but he's getting ready to be leveraged.
That's awesome.
Free.
Well, we have actually somebody who comes and cleans our fish tank. He's not free.
No.
I don't know if you guys knew that, but there are people that this is all they do. They'll come in and clean your fish tank. He's awesome. He charges me $50.
People that'll pick up your dog poop in your backyard.
Yeah, pooper scoopers. That's a good one.
What do you pay them?
Dog walkers.
Scoopers?
How's that now? One in her area. What was their name?
Does your dog care who picks up its poop or who walks it?
No.
No. They just want to be walked, right? What other kind of leverage? I actually compiled a really great list for leverage. So if you guys send me an email, send it to, let's see, I wrote it down. I forgot what it was. Oh, yeah. Send me an email here and I'll send you my leverage list.
You are kidding me. You have to tell them that. Tell me what it's
What's
called.
it called?
Spell it out.
It's called Holy Crap. It's called Holy Crap. The dog people in the area.
Oh.
WHOLLYKRAP.
Say it again. How do you spell it?
WHOLLYKRAP.com.
Have it on the side of their scooter.
Yeah, they've got a tent in the back of their truck. The tent
Just shows that
advertising.
anyone can work.
Anybody can work.
Yes.
Well, but you know what? Are they going to do a better job than you do at it?
Yeah.
Right? Are they going to care more about it, be more passionate about it than you are? Probably, right? There's nothing wrong with it. That's what they talk about in the one thing, right? That's good for your job. They probably have a system for doing it. They might even have a little machine or something. It's kind of like when you get your house painted. Like who here has painted a room in their house or something? Yeah, it's you know how that goes, right? You're like, I'm gonna paint my room. You're like, oh, it's just gonna take a couple hours. And then by the time you tape and clean up, and then you get distracted, and you have to like wrap your paint and come back. It's like 2-day process. The painters come in, they're like, yeah, it always looks bad, right? And then one day you say, you know what, I'm just gonna get a painter to come in. They come in and they do it and they're in and out in 2 hours and it looks amazing. I mean, it's like they're good at it. They have their systems together. And you guys as real estate agents, you need to get good at real estate agent stuff and not worry about all this other stuff in your life because you don't need to get good at it. It's like, who was saying that? You back there. You were like, I have so many things I'm not good at. Yeah, well, get rid of them. Leverage them out. Okay, so this is, if you guys want to send an email to me, this is buyingtime.papasan@gmail.com. I'll send you my leverage list. It's 121 ways to leverage.
Like I just,
What's that?
you just sent it to me. Really good.
I'm leveraged. Yeah. See? Look at that. She got an email back from me.
That's
amazing.
Wow, she's right on board.
Leverage at its finest.
All right, so we got about 45 minutes left. So let's move on to some of these other things. Okay, so we'll We talked about leverage, working home. Let's talk about focus. So after we had that big conversation about leverage, do you understand how you can get more focus in your life? Somebody tell me how. How do you get more focus in your life? Because you
don't have to do all that different stuff.
You don't have to do all the different
Yeah,
stuff,
once you've
right?
leveraged everything else,
That's right.
all that's left is
That's right.
the meat.
The one thing.
That's right. That's right. You can do what you want to do. And in real estate, we have a unique opportunity, because you're building your own business. You guys own your own businesses. You can build it the way you want, and you can focus on what you want to. I mean, you like to do the paperwork, that's fine. Tim Heil, he's a big mega agent in my office. He's basically still the admin on his team because he's extremely analytical. He loves the numbers. He's really good at that. I struggle a little bit with that. I hired a maths coach at the beginning of this year to really help me on my profitability and work with my numbers and all that kind of stuff. And so I got leverage to help me with that. And when you start your own business, you can leverage out whatever you want to. You just make a list of, this is what I would do, as a gift to yourself. I would make instead of a to-do list, make one of these.
Not to do. Don't do this.
Okay. Really, I challenge you all to do this. What are the things in your life that you don't want to do? And anytime in your business, this is kind of a tip that somebody gave me. Anytime in your business where you've procrastinated something 3 times, okay? So if you have something in your business that you do kind of on a regular basis that you don't like to do, I mean, who has this in their business? Everybody has stuff that they don't like to do. And because face it, I mean, when you're realtors, you do a lot of different things. I mean, you have a huge gamut of tasks that you have to do, which is why so many people get in and out of the business. It's extremely challenging. And so figure out in your home life and in your work life, what are those things that you don't like to do? And if you find yourself procrastinating doing it 3 times, that's a little trigger. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, this was due yesterday and I should have done it. You know what? It's time to get somebody else to help you with that. That would be my tip for you. So what else do you guys do to help maintain your focus during the day? I know you talked a lot about calendaring, time blocking. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So while I haven't been following it yet because my life has been a little bit of a turmoil, but yeah.
Also, you're training 2 new people.
Well, and I'm getting ready to move to Beaumont and try to keep my business going here and buying a new place there. And I'm looking at starting an expansion and, so
Awesome.
I've got all kinds of other things on my plate right now. So, but the thing is, I've still got it on my calendar. So I'm seeing it every day. And it is my constant reminder that this is what my day should look like.
Well, tell us your definition of time blocking, because it's kind of a Kellerism.
So, every morning from 9 to 11:30, I'm supposed to be either on the phone or door knocking. I'm supposed to be lead generating in some form or fashion. I have got tentative listing appointments on my calendar so that my team knows whether we get an email or a phone call or anything. These spots are available, put it in there. Awesome. So it's never a question of, hey, Nikki, can you do Tuesday night or whatnot? And if I have something that comes up like a children's program or whatnot, they get deleted off my calendar and it's no longer available. Awesome. So anybody else that schedules can go in and put it in there. And all they have to do is just change it to not saying tentative, saying listing appointment with, the Smiths.
And so when a seller calls and the person who answers the phone answers and they say, she's available at 1 today or at 5 tomorrow, which would be better for you? Does that make you sound like a professional? Yeah. Does it make you sound more like a professional than like, oh, she's open pretty much every day this week? Anytime. She's completely available. Right? I mean, yeah. So, and make appointments with yourself and make appointments with your family. This was huge for me. Okay. Because the bigger my business has grown, the more I do this. So make appointments with yourself.
Well, Gary says the first thing you're supposed to schedule is your vacations.
Right.
That's huge.
That's huge. We do this every year. So what we do is we started this quite a few years ago when our kids were little. And so my husband and I do a little retreat. Okay, and this kind of started, I'm gonna say probably when I started my business, but maybe even before. Probably when our kids were really little, just to like get away from our kids. We took a 1 or 2 night retreat somewhere, usually in the hill country. We just got a little cabin or hotel or something. And we would go there, and the whole weekend it would be like a goal planning session for our family. And we would talk about goals for our marriage, goals for our children, goals for our businesses, goals for our, marriage, all that kind of stuff. And it's really powerful if you've never done that with your spouse to have that kind of, I would say it was a pretty intimate conversation. Like, hey, how's our marriage doing? I mean, how often do you guys have that conversation with your husbands, if you have one, or wives, or you have one? I mean, that's a pretty intense conversation to have, and it's really powerful. And it kind of set a baseline for us and helped us really get on the same page, because I know that sometimes when you're in real estate and you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you don't always have a spouse who has one of those. And, you're like, grabbing them, kicking and screaming and pulling them to where you think they should be. And this is an opportunity for them to kind of get on the same page. But at that same time, we schedule our vacations for the whole year. And usually what we did was we got a Gary schedule, because Gary already had his calendar time blocked for the whole year. We pretty much would circle those same 6 weeks. And that's what we did. And even if we didn't know where we were going, it was on there, because then you have space for it. And even if you decide, I'm just going to go to, Hyatt Lost Pines outside of Austin for a quickie vacation, at least it's still on there, and you can set expectations with your clients and all that stuff.
Can I say one of the things that Hank, I love this idea that he gave us at Bold, was now my husband is an engineer. He's not someone that I will ever want to be licensed or be part of my team. Like, we know that we work well when we do our own thing. But what Hank recommended was to bring your spouse, whether they're interested in real estate or anything at all, to mega camp, to family reunion, because then they get to, not like you were saying, they get to see the Kool-Aid that we're drinking, and they are way on board with our goal setting and what that means for our family time and our business and, all of those kind of things. So when I pop up and say, hey, I want to go to the agent expansion training in Austin for 2 days. It's not I have to take care of the kids and, all that. It's, hey, not a problem. I'm on board. This is part of your business plan this year. Go ahead. Yeah. Kind of thing.
Well, they still might be like, okay.
I know.
Because even Jay, who's like really good at it, last night, I was like, can you put the kids to bed tonight? Because I got to work on my presentation for tomorrow. And he was like, I'm so tired. I'm like, hello, I've got to work. But he did it. So, no credit. So what other things can you guys do? Does everyone understand this idea of time blocking? We didn't really dig deep into it. Is there anybody who doesn't? Because it's a really powerful concept, and they talk about it in the One Thing book. If you guys haven't read that book, it's a great book. But it's really, you don't want to time block your whole day. Literally, you'll go crazy if you schedule out your whole day. But in the One Thing, it talks about time blocking for your most important activities and really stick to it. And honestly, you know what? At this point, you might be setting yourself up for failure by saying, I'm going to be doing it for 2.5 hours. I would just chunk it down and say, you know what? This is realistic for me right now. Because then you'll do something. Okay. Because honestly, if everybody made 5 calls every single day between 10 and 10:30, your business would explode. Yeah.
Can you say that again? 10 and 10:30.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Yeah. Because I think sometimes, you go to,
30 minutes is,
Of course. I mean, sometimes, we have this, and Gary has huge expectations for everyone. And he knows that if he says, I want you to all legion for 4 hours, we're all going to be like, okay, we'll do like 1 hour. And then there are some people who do it for 4 hours, and they have phenomenal businesses. I mean, it's unbelievable. But you can have a really big business and if you make 5 calls a day, seriously, it's huge. It is huge. But you have to commit to it. You can't do it every other day or every week or once a month or whatever. You have to really do it every single day. And just be realistic with yourself. I mean, when my schedule was this,
you couldn't lead gen. Yeah.
Forget about it. Yeah, no way, Jose. So just a couple calls, and then I did a lot of work. I built my business through a lot of agent-to-agent referrals, because I was like, well, hey, I might as well leverage my relationship with my husband, And so I worked a lot of the Facebook groups. I purposefully networked with a lot of people in Houston and Dallas and San Antonio. I get a lot of referrals from Houston agents. And that's the first 2 years of my business. I was like 41% of my business was agent to agent referrals, and still it's 27%, which is really high. It was about $10 million last year.
So I'm sorry, and working those 9 to noon your first couple of years,
Yeah.
what did your schedule look like? What were you doing from 9 to noon?
Well, I mean, to be really honest with you, I probably one day a week I was like going to the grocery store and going to Target. And a lot of it was getting your systems together, but it was just being a little bit purposeful every day. I mean, I wish I had been more purposeful. My business would be bigger, but you'll see when I show you my production. So my first year, I started in August of 2009. And that year I didn't do any business really. And in 2010, I did 2.8 million, which was 18 transactions. And then I did I have my number somewhere. It was like 23. And it wasn't really till I committed to working more that my business really exploded. I mean, you can have, I mean, this is a good business, 3.8 million. That's a lot of homes. 23 homes is for someone who's working part-time. That's a lot of homes. That's a capper. That's awesome. But when I committed to working more full-time, and I got some after school care, that's when I went to 12 million. So I would say I mean, to be really honest with you, that's not really, I didn't commit to my schedule really till then, but yet I was still purposeful knowing I had to reach out and meet people, and I would go to family reunion events, and I would, like the first family reunion I ever went to, my goal was to collect 100 business cards. And so then the first thing I did is I friended all those people on Facebook, and then I wrote a handwritten note to everyone, and then I put them on a 12 by 12, just a little, I send them an email. Like some of you are probably on it. I'm like, hey, how's it going? You should check out this Agent Mountain. And that's it. That's my drug. So that's how I built my business those first 2 years. So I was purposeful about it. I knew what my one thing was. So my one thing was agent to agent referrals in my sphere. And then I added stuff from there on. So. Okay, what else do you guys do to focus in your business? Any distraction helpers? One thing that Jay does is he has 2 monitors. Because I get super distracted. I'm extremely distracted by Facebook. I love it. I'm such a Facebook junkie. And so he has 2 monitors. One monitor is like for his work, and it doesn't have any of, how you can auto populate your password and you can just click on something. He has one monitor where there's nothing like that. And that's the only one that he uses when he's really working. So if he wanted to go on Facebook or something like that, it's just harder. So I thought that was kind of a good tip. That's how he focuses. Block out the distractions. One of the things I did to focus was I got an office.
I did that.
Yeah, I did that pretty right away, because when I worked from home, that was really challenging for me. Mm-hmm. I would get up in the morning and I'd be in my pajamas and I'd make everybody's beds and clean up the breakfast dishes and all that kind of stuff. And work expands to fill the time allowed, and pretty soon, it's like 1:30 and you're like, oh, geez, I didn't do anything. But if you go into the office and you're all dressed up and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I better do something, that helps a lot. So that helped me with my focus. And one of the things that's not really focus, but it's more like accountability. And what do you guys do for accountability? Because that's really how you focus. Is somebody holds you accountable. Does anybody have a coach here? You have a coach? Like a MAPS coach or what?
I have a Jeremy coach.
Awesome. So you have a coach in your office. And is that like a program you offer your agents, or?
Yeah, it's the PC program.
Nice. Okay. So just productivity coach. Anybody else have a coach or an accountability partner? Just that one? Okay. Well, I hired a MAPS coach pretty much right away. Again, huge investment. $1,000 a month. I mean, holy moly, that's a lot of money. But absolutely an amazing investment, because they're going to hold you accountable. And how MAPS coaching works is you talk to your MAPS coach 30 minutes a week, every week. And, you know, they give you a deadline. They say by our call next week, you got to have all these things done. And so literally, you know, my coaching calls at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays. So like 11:30, I'm like, I gotta get all my stuff done, you know, before I talk to my coach. So that's accountability. Do you guys ever do like a vision board or anything? We did that this year. And I've got that. That helps me with my goals. Do any of you have a business plan? You guys ever do a business planning clinic in here or anything? Yeah.
We actually started one, well, we did the beginning phase of it.
Okay.
This week we did, everyone is completing their 135s and
Okay.
emailing them to me.
Great. Awesome. And that's huge. Yeah. And then just have somebody to check in. I mean, what I would recommend is if you don't have, I mean, get somebody else in your office to hold you accountable. Maybe somebody that you don't like that much. So you're just not chit-chatting all the time. Well, I mean, right?
You're not on Facebook with.
I mean, I'm a people person. So, I mean, usually realtors are people. And so here's one great accountability. This was huge for me. Does anybody have a scripting partner? Anybody do scripts? You have a group in the mornings? It's kind of weird. Do group scripting, but I mean, I know it's great, but so I always had a scripting partner, and I had, when you take Bold, you can join up and you get a scripting partner from across the country. You get a complete stranger, right? So I always had a scripting partner. His name was Don Kalenda. He was awesome. He's from Missouri, and then now he's in Hawaii, and I hardly knew him outside of our scripting, but every morning we script, you know, from 8:30. What did that look like? 8:45. Okay, so he's in Missouri. So just 15, 20 minutes. And I do it now with my team. We script every morning from 8:40 to 9 o'clock. And now everybody brings a different script. But I would just call Dawn, ring, ring. And we would practice whatever we needed to practice. So now we practice sign calls. I mean, you guys know this feeling, right? You get a sign call. And they call and they ask for the price. And you know you're supposed to keep them on the line and somehow convert them into a client. And then all of a sudden they're like, thank you, click, right? I mean, does that happen to anyone? And if you practice your sign calls, you will learn how to convert a sign call into a buyer by building rapport with questions. And there's a great, on this website, you guys ever go here and look at all that stuff that's there? Yes. There's a huge scripting packet. It's like a 180-page packet. And we literally script everything. We script listing objections. We script buyer objections, how to get someone to sign a buyer representation agreement, whatever you need help with. And everybody on my team picks something different, and we just script it every day. And I would say if I had to pick one thing that I did at the beginning as a new agent, because what does scripting do for you? It builds you right, exactly. And if you're in sales and you've never, you know, if you're a new agent, what do you need to get the listing or the buyer? You need confidence, right? And this gives you confidence. And this is something that you can do, you know, it doesn't have to be in the morning. It can be at 2 in the afternoon. You can do with another mom in your group or whatever. And, you know, 15 minutes a day, and just do it by phone. I mean, I think it's like now I always prefer the phone because that's usually how you end up talking with someone. And then when we script in our office, sometimes we just turn our back because it's sort of weird to be like staring right at someone doing scripting. What else do you guys do for accountability? Do you ever share your business plans with your spouses or your children? What about having your kids hold you accountable? What about if you tell your kids, hey, I want you guys to ask me when I come home every single day if I made 10 calls to people. And if I don't, I want you to tell me how disappointed you are in me. I mean, would that be accountability?
Yeah.
It's like, what about yourself? That's what you would with kids. Their kids would be like, yes. Yeah.
So one of the things that my husband and I have been talking about doing is the pleasure versus pain.
Uh-huh.
And so we know that we take two vacations a year. One with the kids and then one with just us.
Uh-huh.
So I told him that I really want to link my productivity to one of those goals, and that, you know, for me, vacation is kind of a given. I grew up an airline brat. It's just we do vacation every year. It's not a question, but it's a matter of, okay, so I really like to take kids to Hawaii this year, But if I don't make my goals, then maybe we just do San Diego, which
Okay.
I'm going to be really disappointed by because we're not going to get to go to Hawaii. Like
Yeah.
we're still doing a vacation, but and so he had a hard time with, but I don't have control over your goals and your
Right.
productivity. And I'm like,
Yes,
you don't, yeah.
Yeah, you can support me.
It's accountability
Yeah.
and all of that kind of stuff. And so,
I love
so I'm really pushing for that
I mean,
one.
you guys, we run our own businesses. I mean, what's
Yes.
the point of being in business? We just work all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to have goals. We want to have something to show for at the end of the day. And this is how you can do that. I mean, literally, you can do exactly what I did. You can go from 0 to 35 million. And I know a lot of you are like, well, her husband works for Keller Williams. She got a lot of extra help, yada, yada, yada. And the fact of the matter is, no. I mean, I just did what anybody else can do. I read the book. I hired early. I mean, I had the gift of not having to contribute to financially to my household at first, which was a gift, because we just didn't ramp up our living expenses after I was a stay-at-home mom. And that allowed me to put money back into my business. But it's not really what you make, it's what you spend. You guys know that, right? So anything else with accountability here? Focus before we move on. Yeah. 15, 20 more minutes. Okay, so I just want to make sure. Want to go to lead gen now? Is that what we want to talk about? Okay. All right. So remind me again, who's new in the business? Okay.
You count a year and a half.
Okay. Somebody in the way. So tell me who's had their first listing here of you new agents. Your new agent? How long in the business?
In Texas, about a year,
Okay, great. How'd you get your first listing?
from an open house.
Okay, great. How many of you are doing open houses? Okay, some of you. How many don't like doing open houses? How many would do open houses if they felt like they could actually get a client while they were there? Yeah. Okay. Talking to my coach, he's telling me that a lot of people are just really getting back to the basics, and open houses are working better than ever for people. And a lot of people are getting back to the basics. So curious, when you do you do open houses often, or?
No, I mean, no, not like on a regular
Okay.
thing. I've only done a few, but
Okay.
both I got a good buyer lead off that, and then that listing lead. I followed up a lot with them. Like,
Well, tell me what you did.
I have them fill out a sheet, and then I send them a handwritten thank you note for coming with my card in it. Thank you for coming by the open house. If I can help you with anything, please contact me. And then
Leading shot.
a few days
No
later,
numbers.
I called.
Both team leaders are leaving. This is not
I'm
good.
like, someone's being shot, and I'm like, no, that's serious. What was that?
Just thinking over
Balloons?
What's that? Yeah. Is there anybody that's doing open houses kind of on a systematic basis?
I was for a while.
I was till December.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was for a while.
Do you think that you'd be more successful if you did open houses every single weekend?
Yes.
Yeah. I think what a lot of agents do when they first start in the business is they try a lot of different stuff, which is great because then you can absolutely figure out what you like and what you don't like. This is scary.
It's right there, and she doesn't look worried, so.
Okay.
It's all good.
Benita's not running her day.
Yeah.
She's standing over there.
Question. So, I actually
Okay,
recently moved
well,
from Austin,
Uh-huh.
and I did open houses systematically
Uh-huh.
every single weekend.
Yep.
And took bold.
Yeah, you look familiar. Yeah, I thought you looked familiar.
And Kate told me, she's like, open houses are a total waste of time.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't getting anything back from them.
Okay.
I've been doing them for months and months.
Yeah.
And I felt like my follow-up was right on.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't getting any return on
Sure.
it. However, I really felt like I was very good at it and personable.
Okay.
People responded to me well, and they appreciated the follow-up that I was giving them.
Yeah.
It just
at that.
It wasn't
then I
working.
moved.
Okay.
So at that point, any foundation I was laying.
Right, was gone.
Right.
Got
So, and now I'm kind of starting over
Mhm.
again in this area, but I don't know, she just kind of is in my ear
Sure.
about open
Well,
houses
I
being
mean,
ways-
I don't know why she said that because lots and lots of people succeed through open houses.
I just got another
found that to
one
be
on the
really
listing
good.
appointment
Yeah.
today from last weekend's.
I mean, I think what Kate would tell you is that the quickest way to success is calling expireds and FSBOs, which is probably what she wanted you to do.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, because I started like
Hi.
end
for
of
coming.
June, July,
Uh-huh.
and I did them the same way. I mean, like every week, and I was doing them
Uh-huh.
twice a week. I mean, that was my goal,
Right.
house of house, and I was very burnt out from it because
Right.
I was doing the same thing. Like I was calling, I had good response. I
Right.
was, once a week touching them and all this
Right.
stuff. And now at this time, I'm starting to get feedback from these people. Like
Yeah.
my drip system, they're responding.
Exactly.
But it took like 5 months.
Absolutely.
If I would have known that back then,
Yeah.
and I wasn't so like,
Great point.
now, no
Yeah.
one likes me, no one's using me.
Yeah.
Like you just, it's an
Yeah.
emotional
Yeah,
roller
of course,
coaster.
of course.
I would have just, kept right along. Okay, one day it's going to happen. It's those seeds. And it really, now I'm starting to get people calling me from that or answering or.
Well, and I think that Gary would tell you, your number one job every day is to lead generate. And then your second job is actually lead follow-up. And what happens is that a lot of us are good at this. We can meet somebody at a party and have a conversation with them about real estate. But then this is where it all goes to hell. Excuse me, friend. And I can tell you that this is where your money is. This is where your money is. And you're not going to be able to do this without some of these. Right? You need to have some systems in place so that you can handle all your leads. I mean, when it comes right down to it, after you guys get to a certain point in your business, you have enough, you're going to have enough leads. You're going to have plenty of leads. When you're a new agent and you have those 3 leads and you're like, I've got 3 leads, you're stroking them, you're kissing them, you're calling them, you love those leads. I mean, and we have thousands of leads. We literally have thousands of leads. And the only way that we're going to make money off these leads is to put in systems to do the follow-up, because it is time on the task over time, just exactly what you're saying. Most of the people who are out looking at open houses, yeah, maybe you'll get that person who wants to buy that house you're actually holding open, which is kind of rare, but it does happen. But most people are just starting to window shop. It's like internet leads, 9 months. They say the average lead time is 9 months. So yeah.
I think though, if you just do, you have to kind of look at what you're doing with open houses as well. In the beginning, I just was like, I'm here, and
Right.
there's really, you can't just do it willy nilly. There's literally a system to it.
Right.
And the higher level you get with, if you follow the levels of open house, the more you do of those, the better results you're going to get. So you kind of have to look at yourself. Have I done the 20 signs with my name?
Yeah.
Do I have little billboards everywhere, all over town, with my name? Am I doing this? Do I have the balloons? Do I have this? Do I have that? And then do you follow up?
Yeah.
Do I look at the house? Is this a good house to do an open house at? Is this going to be a waste of
Right,
time?
exactly. Is it on a dead end cul-de-sac in the middle of nowhere? Yeah. Well, and I think that we really do.
Those houses sell too.
Is that what you're selling right now?
Yes, and it's gonna sell.
It is.
And no, nobody came to the open house, but it's okay.
That's okay.
We'll just the right person will come.
Well, for me, I always like doing open houses because my kids were really little when I started. They were 4 and 5, so I was like, "Yay, I've got some free time."
Yes.
Like, if somebody showed up, I'd always be like, "Come on, I'm trying to have some me time here," So, but like I said, just pick something. Like for me, it was agent to agent referrals. I got really purposeful and systematic in every way that I could think of to reach out to other agents. I did. And that's what helped me succeed at the beginning. And then as your business grows, you just add to it. You add one more thing. So then you've got your one thing that you're good at. You got your open houses or FSBOs or calling your sphere, or going to parties or whatever it is that you do. I mean, there is a lot of ways to connect with people. And ultimately, the people who have the best businesses, best long-term businesses, they're relationship people. It's a relationship business. So what else are you guys doing to get business? How do you get most of your business?
Mine started from farming.
Okay.
that's still where I get a large chunk of it.
You want to explain what that is?
So I started out on a very regular basis, sending out postcards to my entire neighborhood where I live. And I chose to do that because they all start with greetings neighbor. I want them to know I'm local. And I don't send anything. I used to not send anything real estate related.
Okay.
I would give them, I mean, it was a value add kind of thing. So I started off sending recipes from my own kitchen kind of thing.
Okay.
And would just send those out. And it took 3 months before I ever got a call, but they called me off of my very first postcard.
That's amazing.
It wasn't like it was, I mean, they actually had held on to the first one and, you know, did that. So now it's one of those where, like I said, I do my just listed and just sold kind of, you know, the immediate radius around there.
Right.
I've got I do a full page ad in the quarterly newsletter, which is always, that's the real estate that I do, because I get more response off of that being real estate related than it not being real estate related, because they're going to read the newsletter anyway. So that's where I put the real estate in their face. And I just talk about our market and what the numbers, you know, on a quarterly basis.
Well, and you should talk about that.
Yeah.
The recipe thing is okay, and yet it actually is probably some of the least effective postcards you can send. Yeah. I mean, people want to think about real estate when they think of you. So, yeah. And you send mostly real estate related postcards now?
Yeah.
It works better. That's what the research says. So. Yeah. And so how long have you been doing this?
Almost 5 years.
5 years. Okay. Awesome. And do you track your numbers? Do you have any idea? Like what your numbers were?
Yeah, so I would say now, it used to be the largest percentage of my business. Now it's probably close to the 45 to 50% range of my business.
And what kind of business do you do?
How
many units?
Let's see, this year I'm at just shy of 30.
So 15 deals this year. That's great. And you have a pretty high price point, right? You get a $10,000 commission. Okay, what else is everybody else doing? How do you get your business?
Mostly my sphere.
Okay. And how do you do that? Do you just talk to people, or do you send out anything?
I actually do just like you said. I make a point to talk to 5 people every single day at least. And I stay really present on social media. And I find that is one of my biggest helps. That's it. I mean, most of my business is either referral, but it's usually from my sphere or past clients. I'm only a year and 3 quarters in to the business, so I don't have tons of referrals from old business, but
Yeah. Good for you. Where is everybody else getting their business?
I door knock.
Yeah. You door knock? How did that work out for you?
Well, the house on the dead end street, somebody else on that same street called me, but then I actually door knocked in my area, and out of about 10 doors that I knocked, because I only had about 15 minutes, but I was trying to get my 100 contacts in a day.
Right.
And so I door knocked, and 4 people answered, and the 4th person is an elderly lady, and she is wanting to sell in March.
You're like the luckiest person. You door knock like 4 houses, and you do one open house, and you got like 2
I know, and
listings.
she said, the same.
I mean,
thing
girl,
that
why don't you do more of
It's the
it?
person.
Yeah, she just said, well, I'm so glad you came by. Where do you live? And I like pointed to my house, and she said, okay, well, the agent who sold me this house, she moved.
Wow.
Like, not out of the area. She just is not in her neighborhood anymore. And so she said, so I'm glad to know you live there. So she told me after Christmas, she wants to sit down and talk to me. So I actually made her a little basket I'm taking to her today.
And you're probably great face to face. That's why you like open houses and door knocking, right? And some people like to be on the phone. Some people like to be on the internet. I mean, there's a lot of ways to succeed in real estate. It really is. It is a relationship business. But if you like to be face to face with people, get belly to belly, face to face. I mean, that's really what door knocking can do for you. And it's good exercise. What else do you guys do?
I know that Bobby is kind of in the same boat here. I'm big on being involved like in my immediate community, like Hertz, to a school.
Yeah.
I'm, you know, I do HOA boards, PTO, whatever you want to call it. You know, but just being involved.
Of course. Yeah.
There.
Community. Just being everywhere.
Exactly.
That's huge. And the farming, I have only, I think I'll be a year in this new neighborhood for 1 year this month. And this is the same thing. And I've done a lot of research because I was assigned it by my coach on farming. And something I really never had thought of was I keep a journal now of any action that happens in there and why houses. I tour every single house that gets listed, and
so you're truly a neighborhood expert.
That's what I'm trying to do. And I bought a golf cart. So
Just
that
cruise around
for my
No, you get one of those
business.
metallic stickers to go on the side of the golf
it's gonna
cart.
get wrapped. But I have we have large
Really?
lots.
You're gonna wrap it?
Well, that's what Jeremy said. So I just do what I'm told.
I know.
And it
That's-
works. So
that's what I do.
If I get told to do it, I do.
I'm coachable.
And then that's what I do. But we have large lots, so it's not like
Right.
So but anyway,
That sounds like fun.
and then have you done a benefit with the neighborhood yet?
So I was on the social events committee, which put on all the events for the neighborhood, and I was on the board as well as like the primary sponsor. So I haven't done it like as just a me event, but my name is on pretty much every event that happens in the neighborhood.
Yeah, well, like you can see there's a lot of ways to become successful. For me, it was agent to agent. Like I said, I was really purposeful about that. It wasn't random. So I went to I think I was starting to tell you the story. I went to family reunion and I got 100 business cards, and I came back and I wrote everybody a note, right? Thinking like, oh, I'm going to get like 100 notes back. And I ended up getting one. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to crush this thing. It's going to be so easy. Just because nobody had the follow up. I mean, if you've ever been to any of those events, you give out your cards right and left. I didn't get put on any drips. Nobody ever communicated with me. Nobody ever sent me any follow up except for that one person. So I was like, I am going to be awesome at this. So that's all I did, was to really focus on that.
Never thought of that. That is awesome.
And then what I did was I actually reached out to my friends, like friends in Houston and Dallas and San Antonio. And what did I say to you? I said, tell me who's kind of new in the business, really good at what they're doing. You think they're kind of a rock star. Give me a list. And Jeremy, is a super nice guy. He always comes from contribution. And he gave me a list of all these people that he sells you guys out, just so you know, of people that would be good for me to connect with. And so I just reached out to them. I friended them on Facebook, and I picked up the phone. I said, hey, Jeremy just said the nicest things about you. He said, you're a great agent in Houston, and I'm really trying to build relationships because I know tons of people are moving from Houston to Austin, and I just want to connect with people. And so, tell me, I had a little script, tell me about where you worked and what your specialty is and all this kind of stuff. And so then, when I had a referral, I was like, oh, well, we know this person does this in this neighborhood, and that's what I'm going to send it to. So then it was great for me too, and great for any referral I had. So that was great. And then now we're about, this year, we're about 64% sphere, which is huge for us. And then we do internet leads, about 20% of our business. So, you can see there's lots and lots of ways to succeed. I know all you guys wanted to talk about lead gen, so I don't know if this helped you, or was this conversation helpful? Just pick something and go for it. Do it over and over and over again until you're really, really good at it. Gary always tells a story about a pottery class, and the professor divided the pottery class up into two groups. And the goal of one group was to make the most pots, and the goal of the other group was to make the best pot. Okay, that was their goal. And who do you think ended up making the best pot? The one who made the most pots, right? It's just like real estate. The more you can fail, the better you're going to be in the end. So, okay, so we don't really have much time left. I guess we can open it up for a few questions or anything if you have burning questions for me. before we finish?
Do you keep it specific to Keller Williams agents or?
No, but I go to mostly Keller Williams events.
Yeah.
So I don't really go to NAR or any of those other events, but I do have some agents on my list that are from other, and I get referrals from other agents because Keller Williams agents, the amazing thing about Keller Williams is we have this incredible 110,000 person network, right? You meet somebody in Idaho and they're from Keller Williams, you have instant camaraderie with them. You're like, oh, you're from Keller Williams? You must be awesome, and that's powerful. I mean, that's a really powerful network. And there are people who don't have this network who actually go to, like, maybe they used to work for Keller Williams or they have a friend that's with Keller Williams, and they ask them, ask your network because I know how good it is. I mean, it's like a no-brainer to connect with this network, especially for you guys. I mean, you're like Austin. You got tons and tons of people moving here every single day, right? Yeah. So I don't know, I would definitely tap into it. Figure out where everybody's moving from and then make those connections, just like I did. Any other questions? Thanks for sitting for 2 hours, guys. It was kind of intense. Don't forget to send me this email. I'll send you my leverage list, and I guess we'll be back on tap at 1 o'clock, right?
Yes, and I have some sponsors that are going to be coming in
Okay.
to do a quick presentation, and
Okay.
then we have lunch for y'all. It's how y'all knows.
Yay.
Y'all take those awesome. Good for you,
Yes.
Dan.
Awesome. Thank
Okay, so we have Phillips Luisi with Capital Title.
I know you're not just
I don't know.
All right, we have lunch. Who's hungry? All right, real quick. Who in here has closed a deal with Capital Title? Raise your hand. Who in here has closed a deal with Capital Title? Raise your hand. Who in here is familiar with Capital Title? Okay. We're the largest independently owned title company in Texas. We have an office right here in Kingwood, and we definitely would love an opportunity to earn your business. We're taking a bus trip. We're going to go shopping. I'd love an opportunity to sit with you guys and get to know you. This is Chris Kelso. He's going to talk as well. We brought food out there for you guys. We love an opportunity to get to know you guys. We launched a postcard program about a month ago. If you're interested in doing this, what we're doing basically is paying for half of the postage or half of the printing on the card. We print on the backside, and it's just listed, just sold on the backside. But it only works with a product in a home that you close with us. So if it's something you're interested in, I'll show you how to use it. I can also show you how to market and farm through Realist. So if it's something you guys are interested in, we definitely would love the opportunity to sit with you guys. So as you guys come in and out, I'll shake your hands and all that good stuff. I've got these fancy little business card holders for the back of your phone. If you'd like one of those, I'll be more happy to give you one too. So, are y'all hungry? Yeah. Bobby's like, oh my God.
How's everyone doing? I'm Chris Kelso with Wilbin Mortgage. We have a new office opened right up here in Town Center, by the way, facing the park. So usually you can catch us there Thursday with beer and wine and all the other things if you want to come do that with us. The one thing I like to everybody, though, is most people don't realize this. English is not my first language, by the way. How many of y'all do international business, especially business with Latin American folks? When I need a Spanish speaker, by the way. That is actually my first language. I grew up in Mexico for 23 years. So, por allá sí tienen. ¿Perdón? San Luis Potosí, de Monterrey aquí. I tell everybody, everyone's will laugh at that, but and Philip always tells me to lead with that, so I'm going to take his advice and lead with that one this time. But we're up here, we're a mortgage banker. We just like an opportunity to get to meet every one of you, and if you ever have an opportunity, we'd like an opportunity to work with you.
Guys, you'll appreciate having vendors come in and support our events and provide food.
Yes.
All right, and I know y'all got some really great ideas from Wendy, and you're going to be able to generate a deal over the next month.
Yes.
How many of y'all are willing to commit at least one transaction to each one of these individuals in the next month? Raise your hand. 2.
Hopefully.
Only 3 people? You got one? Okay, raise your hands. Okay, I know who you are. All right, so I'll follow up. All right, so we appreciate you guys. Thank you again.
I'll be right here in the hall.
All right, thank you. All right, guys, have lunch. We'll be back at 1.
I know.
Pretty good.
Very, very good.
Thank you very much.